We are going to talk for just a moment here about the 2016 annual report of the OARRS system. The Board of Pharmacy is celebrating 10 years of using this people monitoring system. Well, we see in chart number 1 here the opioid solid doses dispensed to Ohio patients by year, that in 2011 we started off with 782 million, and by the year 2016 we are down to 631 million opioid solid doses. Also notice the axis on the left starts at 600 and goes up to 800. There is no zero in this graph, and therefore this graph is highly deceptive. Notice that on this graph the data is the same. Starts off with 782 million, goes down to 631 million. That change takes place over 5 years, and the data also has the y-axis on the left at 600 million going up to 800 million oral dosage forms. And this was transferred over to this format so that I could show you a comparison here with what I'm about to show you, which is a graph that is not deceptive. This is a reality-based showing of that same data. Again, starts at 782 million, goes down to 631. Notice that the slope is not so steep, and it doesn't look quite so dramatic as the first one did. For purposes of comparison, we'll go back to the first graph. Notice how steep it is. Again, the data is exactly the same in this showing as the previous one. Again, back to reality. Notice on the left-hand side, we have an axis that is zeroed out and goes up to the same 782 million dosage forms. And again, this is not quite as dramatic looking as the other one. That's because this one is zeroed out on the y-axis. I'm going to switch back and forth sort of quickly here just to show you a side-by-side comparison to see what this change really looks like. That was pretty dramatic, but in case it wasn't dramatic enough, here we have a top and bottom view. The top obviously being the deceptive one, and the lower one being the reality-based one. Again, the difference being that the bottom one is zeroed out and the top one is not zeroed out. I will leave it up for you to decide if this is propaganda by the board or if this simply represents some incompetence there at the Board of Pharmacy.
Propaganda is information, especially of a biased or misleading nature, used to promote a political cause or point of view. Propaganda is often associated with the psychological mechanisms of influencing and altering the attitude of a population toward a specific cause, position, or political agenda in an effort to form a consensus. Propaganda is information that is not objective and is used primarily to influence an audience and further an agenda, often by presenting facts selectively, perhaps lying by omission, to produce an emotional rather than a rational response to the information that is presented.